Dead Time Now, where time stops and horror begins. Put on your headphones, find a quiet corner, and turn off the lights. Because what you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a true nightmare.
There are some mysteries in this world that simply don't have an answer, leaving those involved to wonder what really happened. Some of these unsolved mysteries are so bizarre they are still talked about today, with theories and speculations running wild. And sadly, some of them involve the disappearance of loved ones, with families left to pick up the pieces and try to move on without knowing exactly what happened. Today, we'll be taking a look at a few of these cases, but be sure to let me know which one you think is the most haunting. The disappearance of Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray was traveling from her home in Massachusetts to the University of New Hampshire, where she was studying. But for reasons unknown, Maura never made it to her destination. When Maura's car was found abandoned on the side of the road, authorities began searching for her. However, despite multiple searches, no trace of her was found. The last confirmed sighting of Maura was by a truck driver who saw her changing a tire on the side of the road. He stopped to help her, but when he returned from his truck, he noticed that Maura had vanished. There were no signs of a struggle, but her cell phone, wallet and keys were left behind. While there has never been any concrete evidence to suggest foul play, police have not ruled it out and believe that someone may have taken advantage of Maura's desperate situation. Even her family believes that she didn't just run off, and that someone must have done something to her. After all, there was no history of her going missing or running away. A strange aspect of this case is that someone apparently deleted all traces of Maura's Facebook account and photos shortly after she disappeared. Was this someone trying to cover their tracks, or was simply a random person trying to capitalize on the tragedy? The disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. In December of 1998, 23-year-old Amy Lynn Bradley boarded the Carnival cruise ship in Miami, with plans to visit the Bahamas. However, Amy never returned home from the trip. In fact, she hasn't been seen since. According to other passengers, Amy was last spotted by her mother on the cruise ship the evening of December 24th. Although there were reports that Amy had been acting strangely, there was no indication that she was suicidal or had any desire to disappear. Her family claims that she was very excited for the cruise and wouldn't have intentionally missed her disembarkation date. As time went on, witnesses came forward claiming to have seen Amy on the cruise ship behaving erratically. One passenger claimed that Amy had approached him with others while on the ship asking for money. She had also been seen wandering around the ship alone and talking to herself. Other passengers reported seeing Amy fall down a flight of stairs, but nobody came to her aid. By the next morning, however, Amy was nowhere to be found. There were no signs of a struggle, but her purse, luggage, and camera were found abandoned on the ship. Despite extensive searches, Amy was never located, and the case remains unsolved to this day. With limited security cameras on the cruise ship and unreliable witnesses, it's hard to say exactly what happened to Amy. Some believe that she committed suicide, while others think she was the victim of foul play. The disappearance of Brandon Lawson. After being arrested for disorderly conduct and assault, Brandon Lawson called his wife to bail him out. But when she arrived at the jail, she was told that Brandon had already been released. His wife assumed that he went to a friend or family member's house, but when she went to check, nobody had seen him. It was then that she contacted the police to report Brandon missing. As days turned into weeks with no sign of Brandon, his wife knew that something was terribly wrong. According to those who knew Brandon, he would never have willingly gone off the grid and left his family without a trace. Brandon was also not the type to stay in one place for too long and always kept in contact with his family. Because of this, they believed that something bad must have happened to him. The police conducted several searches for Brandon and even used cadaver dogs, but they never found a body or any other evidence that could lead them to him. They did, however, find his cell phone discarded in a trash can. DNA testing revealed that there was blood on the phone, but it was his own, and there were no signs of a struggle, meaning that he could have left it there willingly. The case remains open, but there are no current leads, and Brandon's family has been left wondering what happened to him. The disappearance of Susan Williams. When Susan Williams failed to show up for work one day, her boss called her husband to inform him. At first, he assumed that she had simply forgotten that she was supposed to be working that day. But when he tried calling her cell phone, he received a recording stating that the mailbox was full and couldn't accept any new messages. Concerned, he then drove over to her workplace to see if she was there. But when he arrived, he discovered that her car had been left in the parking lot overnight. He then called the police to report her missing. Several days later, Suzanne's car was found abandoned near a bridge. Her purse, cell phone and keys were inside, but there was no sign of Suzanne. Authorities searched the area with dive teams and cadaver dogs, but they never found her body or any other evidence that could help them solve the case. Police believe that Susan didn't just vanish into thin air, and that foul play was most likely involved, but the truth is they don't know whether she ran away, was kidnapped or met with foul play. Sadly, her case remains unsolved, and her family continues to search for answers. The disappearance of Paul and Lynn. Paul and Lynn were childhood sweethearts whose love story began when they were just 14 years old. Shortly after graduating high school, they married and soon had 2 children. Everything seemed to be going well for the couple until one night when they had a huge fight. The details of the fight are unknown, but it was reportedly so bad that their 9-year-old son came out of his room crying. Just hours later, Paul and Lynn left the house, allegedly to go to a hotel, but they never came back. In fact, they haven't been seen since. Their car was later found abandoned at the side of a highway, and their phones were left behind. But there was no sign of the couple anywhere. To make matters more suspicious, Paul's life insurance policy would pay out $300,000 to his parents if anything ever happened to him. But as there was no record of the couple getting a divorce, their children were left without any legal guardians. It's unknown whether the couple left together or separately, whether they are alive or dead. Their children believe that their parents didn't leave them on purpose, and that something terrible must have happened. While the case remains unsolved, the children have grown up and are now demanding that the police take action so they can finally learn the truth. Which of these cases was the most haunting to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.